Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And one of the lead designers from Assassin's Creed Shadows has been fired from Ubisoft for complaining about having to go back to work in the office.
At least that's what they're saying, right?
That's what they're saying. Yeah, we're going to talk about this because we've been covering the Ubisoft shit show for a while now, and financially they're not in good shape. Their stock is in the gutter. They've been taking all the big IP, kicking it over to this other company that they're working with, Tencent. But they've shut a bunch of studios down. They've been shutting companies down. And one of the other videos I did, I knew that a lot of people working at Ubisoft were not happy about having to return to the office, that was one of the mandates. And I said, this is not going to end well for them. And it didn't end well for at least one of them.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine that. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. You can listen at home. You can listen from home. We don't require that you be in the office. More.clownfishtv.com. So, Geeky found this. This is coming from Kotaku, and you haven't been the last couple Ubisoft videos.
No, I haven't been in a lot of the video game buns because you usually say I'm going to do them and then go do them.
Oh, sorry. Well, you don't usually care. That's the thing.
I just don't know as much about it. It's not my wheelhouse like it is your wheelhouse. Let's put it that way.
Well, okay. So what's been going on the last couple of weeks with Ubisoft is they've been furiously shutting down divisions.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew they shut down the one. They were shutting down the one in Canada.
Yeah, and I think this one, it was Montreal. Yeah. And they shut down the studio that did Star Wars Outlaws, and they canceled the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake.
Right. I remember seeing about that
weird.
because the voice actress was upset because no one told them that was canceled.
I know.
And it was like 3 years of work and they weren't told.
Yeah, that game was, I guess that was pretty far along in development. They canceled that, which is very, very weird.
It was.
Because that is one of the most popular games in the series, and that would have sold. Right.
And this is also the company that got, partnered up with Tencent to spin off some of their other stuff into all the crap stuff into another company they were going to get rid of.
Yeah.
And then, they're going to make a new company with Tencent, and Ubisoft is going to be, what was left of Ubisoft was going to be spun off to another company with the crap that was left.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Warner Brothers wants to do with Discovery.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what I think, what I think is actually going on here is they're going to just hit reset on pretty much all their franchises and get rid of a lot of the current staff. And what they're doing, I think, is I've seen this with multiple companies. When they institute that back to office policy, that is a way for them to weed out people to lay off, to fire, without having to
mentioned before, yeah.
Yeah, without having to really be the bad guy, right? You can just be like, well, if you can't meet the criteria for returning to work, then, well, I guess we're just going to have to get rid of you. Easy decision. Because you just say, well, you weren't willing to come back to work. But in this case, this guy went out on LinkedIn and started complaining about it, and then he got fired.
Yeah, it could be, possible that it wasn't related to it. Yeah, it's possible because they were laying off anyway. But do I think this played into it? Likely.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, when companies are downsizing like this, you need to keep your head down or you're going to get gone. Any reason you give them to get rid of you, if you are disagreeable or you're asking for more money or you're out in social media causing a shitstorm, whatever, it doesn't matter the company. It doesn't matter if it's a video game company or any company. They're going to look at you and be like, oh yeah, this guy's making a lot of noise and he's a liability. And yep, there's another one we can get rid of. And that's what they do, right? Or if you can't justify what you did, that's why they had people saying, hey, what'd you do this week? Well, if they're paying you and they don't know what you do, guess who's not going to be there for much longer, right? So this comes from Rock, Paper, Shotgun. Kotaku's got two. But this is where we actually get that it was a guy who worked on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So Assassin's Creed designer claims Ubisoft suspended him for alleged breach of the duty of loyalty over the new return to office contract. Now, according to Kotaku, as of today, he got gone.
They said, he was putting out comments today.
Yeah. So here's the backstory. They lay it out really well here. Here's the backstory. So last week, Ubisoft announced they were canceling a load of games and laying off staff in the course of transforming themselves into the new hotness with funding from Tencent. They also announced that they would no longer allow hybrid or remote working with, how many years after the pandemic is it? Seriously. With staff receiving a yearly allowance of work from home days instead. Well, that I think is fair. An executive commented that the one and only objective for the new return to office policy is to enhance collective efficiency to drive the dynamics of creativity, the sense of belonging. And the unionized Ubisoft developers were not convinced. So this is Mashad Cromp. Is that how you pronounce his name? I don't know. I don't speak French. David Mashad Cromp went on LinkedIn and said, last week, Ubisoft want to bring back 5 days in the office because they believe in collaboration. But come on, we're not completely stupid. We very well know why you want to go back to 5 days in the office. The post included a link to a YouTube video from Damon Cassie, who argued that return to office policies are better understood as a way to maintain oversight and reinforce traditional hierarchies. Wait.
Office real estate prices. What?
Wait. Okay. So wait. Maintain. So your employer who pays you your salary, who is paying you for a service, God forbid they want to maintain oversight over what you do and reinforce the hierarchy when you're working for them.
Right, yeah.
What the fuck?
I know.
I don't understand. So he got disciplined, but apparently he's been fired for this. And so he said, today I was terminated by Ubisoft, effective immediately, posted on LinkedIn. This was not my decision. I won't be discussing internal details or circumstances. I'm taking time to regroup and we'll share next steps when appropriate. And Ubisoft emailed Kotaku and they said, sharing feedback or opinions respectfully does not lead to dismissal. Okay. We have a clear code of conduct that outlines our shared expectations for working together safely and respectfully, which employees review and sign each year. When that is breached, our established procedures apply, including an escalation of measures depending on the nature, severity, and repetition of the breach. So he's basically on social media shooting his mouth off about the policy.
Yeah, and getting some trouble,
busted.
you know, basically saying, well, they're asking us to come back into office and then sharing that video, which is, you know, saying about office politics and hierarchy and stuff. And they're like, yeah, you he's probably told to stop it, and he kept doing it.
Look, I'm going to tell you the truth. If that's what the company says, then your other option is to go work someplace else. And
or
it doesn't
to
matter
start
how
your own thing. That's
or
about
start your
all
own
you can
thing.
do.
I don't get that. And this is like, see, this is where you lose me because, you know, we talk about unions and we talk about like better working conditions, right? Better working conditions. But sometimes, and with a lot of these tech unions and a lot of these white collar unions, they're not looking for better working conditions. They want to be the bosses. Mm-hmm. They want to set the terms with the employers, and then the employers are just along for the ride to bankroll wherever the fuck they come up with. And that's not, I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I get if you moved and you bought a house, someplace, like we saw this with Disney, you know, people were moved, whatever, and it sucks. I mean, it does, but I'm also like, if they said you got to be in the office, you got to be in the office. You know, don't just go someplace
Plus, you should
else.
always consider that as a possibility. If you work somewhere, they could always call you back into the office. So it would be smart to go other places. But that's just me.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who worked remotely, that you actually are. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and you're easily cut.
Well, in your case, though, we didn't do that move until they agreed to it. Like we wouldn't have done that if they had said no. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, here's another one of the stories. So, way back, it's been damn near 20 years, but the one company I worked for, I'd been there for a number of years. I was actually there for like 4 years or 5 years at that point, and we wanted to move and said, look, here's the deal. We're probably going to move. I would love to continue working here remotely, and I could, you know, come in once a month or something, check in person. And, but, you know, the possibility was always there that they could say no. And they'd be like, you know, and then that was it. I no longer work there, or we didn't move or whatever, but I had to earn the right to be able to work from home. They had to trust me enough to let me do it. And even then, because we dealt with government stuff, you know, we had a pretty locked down, you know, VPN and all this other stuff I had to work with. And, you know, and I had to realize too that my computer at work, anybody could walk into my office and see what I was doing. Because the desktop was like right out there. And some of these people, I'm like, I don't know if they would be comfortable with that. They'd be like, it's an invasion of privacy. I'm like, well, I'm paying you for your time, so I need to know what you're doing with it, right? I mean, that's just like work. Why do these people not understand work 101?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just so weird. It's just weird to see. And this is what a lot of these unions now, that's what they're doing, is they're basically just trying to set the terms of employment. And this is why they're getting replaced.
Well, there was more. He wrote Kotaku.
All right.
He said He wrote to confirm his termination and shared his thoughts on why he believes remote work can be a great way to make games and collaborate with others. Explain. So it is about the remote work comments.
Yeah.
So what did he say? In my experience.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, he said, my experience, whether remote or hybrid teams are effective has less to do with physical proximity and more to do with fundamentals like clarity of goals, trust, documentation, tooling, and communication practices. Teams that invest in those areas tend to function well regardless of location, while teams that struggle with them often face challenges even when fully co-located. But you're out there bitching about it, and you worked on Assassin's Creed Shadows. You worked on, it doesn't matter how long you're at the company. You worked,
right.
You're only as good as your last game, right? And who knows? Maybe internally they took a look at it and they said, well, part of the reason Assassin's Creed Shadows was such a shit show was because nobody was actually in the office talking to each other.
I don't know. That's an excuse.
It's an excuse.
That's
like
a BS excuse.
You wanted to work from home. You thought you could bully your employer into doing. And here's the thing: everybody knows Ubisoft is in a bad financial state right now. You do not have the luxury of being able to set the terms of employment.
No,
because you will get gone, and that's what we keep telling
out there. I'm sure there was discussions had before he went out there and had a hissy, and they, were probably like, no, and he kept like, I don't know this, but my guess would be. And he kept being pushy about it. They kept saying no, so he's like, oh, I'm gonna go get public opinion, and then it just bit him in the ass. That's my opinion.
So again, don't ask dad for a pony when you just lost his job, or you're going to lose your job and you're not going to be able to buy your kid a pony. So there you go. All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.